We're not
And
signing off, man.
no, Ty.
We
You
here.
gotta sign off so you can sign back on for the visuals. You know what I'm saying? Well, all right. You want to stay there? You want to stay there? You want to stay there?
Yeah, I'll just mute my mic.
I was gonna say, how do I look? We don't know how to do that, but we gotta charge our phone, so maybe we'll come back.
Yeah.
Y'all
So
figure it out. So
you gonna say
look,
something
let me do my
controversial?
closing.
Go
Let me do
ahead.
my closing. I think people see me at the top, but real quick, once again, it's our first show. We're gonna get the technical difficulties still figured out, but thank you for doing the Shawn Show. Thank you for Ty. Thank you for Shade in the City, and of course, thank you to my lovely sister Jawanda Durham. Follow all of these people at the places that I told you to follow them at, and Kim Dudley, you made this happen. We're doing it again next week. But this is my last Shawn Says. And I just want to leave you this this little nugget before you go. And then we're going to cut it right here, and the rest of it will just be live. All right? This is Super Bowl Sunday, and the NFL comes to its huge showcase with a big, fat racial discrimination lawsuit on his hands. Former Dolphins coach has receipts, texts, messages, emails, and more. And he says he can prove the league's bigotry from hiring black coaches to lead positions. Now, ironically, it's been 3 years since Colin Kaepernick withdrew his grievance against the NFL and its owners. That grievance accused them of colluding to keep him out of the league. The former 49ers QB had the NFL on the ropes, as his suit would have forced depositions from good old boy owners like Jerry Jones, Bill McNair, and Jerry Richardson. Kaepernick withdrew the grievance, though, February, 3 years ago, this date, after reaching a confidential settlement with the NFL. Now, he still remains unsigned by any professional football team. Now, Forbes magazine estimated that the NFL teams' valuations are collectively worth $100 billion, and its new TV contract signed just last spring is worth $110 billion, promised to them. So let's go back to Mr. Kaepernick. He received a settlement. He accepted it. No way is that settlement worth a penny scratch of $200 billion. Now, I know it's easy for my broke ass to say that all this stuff, but this is true of America. Sometimes you cannot secure the bag and take the justice. Sometimes for race, the money is not enough. So when Colin Kaepernick lets these white NFL owners off the hook from being deposed in discovery, a mandatory requirement in a court of law to open their books, some through their good old boy gossipy texts and emails, and force folks to understand and force them from giving what everyone knows the situation is and what will be earth-shattering to the league. Damaging testimony that could bring the NFL to his knees, and he decides to take the check instead. I sigh a little bit every time. Why? Because it's another half measure. It's Black History Month, folks, and I'm tired of half measures. When, as Mike says in Breaking Bad, there are half measures and then there are time for full measures. In Flores' suit, Brian Flores' suit that's up now, he painfully dissects the dilemmas of Black manhood in America, because we aren't men writ large. We are boys to them. We're not qualified to be the boss of men, not to be trusted to do anything but shuck, jive, dance, and sing for entertainment, or just be big black bucks, physical beings and monstrous brutes. We are to be minstrels and hard laborers, not to be seen as men, but constantly as boys. That's why the term boy is euphemistically used more than man when talking about Black men, as we don't matter, as we are only serviceable clumps of flesh, blood, and organs. Black men are not supposed to be bosses. We're not supposed to be leaders of white men. We're not to be respected. And to Mr. Flores' quibble, when they finally do give Black men a job, it's either to clean up their messes. Case in point, Obama's election in the Great Recession, or Dusty Baker in Houston as the Astros cheating scandal endured, or they hire us to be part of a sham. Here's your Black history nugget. A sham like Frederick Douglass, who had no banking experience, who was hired to run the Freedmen's Bank by its litty white board members when they knew that the bank would collapse. letting the great black leader take the fall for the demise of a bank that held all those former slaves' savings accounts? Now, Douglas put his money in the bank to show his support. He got his money back. But hundreds of thousands of freed slaves lost everything. Everything. Because they trusted a black male stooge who took the check. Happy Black History Month. So here's the thing, America. Sometimes you can't have the money or the justice. Sometimes you get both. Often you get neither. But remember my first segment. Black folks amass nothing because we don't transfer wealth. My first segment tonight. You get the money now. But would it matter if generations after you still catch hell for the same bigoted things? You gotta pass it on. I understand taking the money. God, I do. I appreciate COlin Kaepernick for laying the groundwork in the usually go along to get along NFL. But what's ironic is that Brian Flores, as a coach, kept his head down and brushed off COlin Kaepernick's situation. And now he's on the other end of it. Woo! And Brian Flores said he is doing this for his children and for future generations. Good. But if that's the case, we need him to not take the check, but to take it all the way for a full measure.